Hello, my friends. I hope you're having a fabulous day. Today, we got some amazing news, Battlegrounds buddies. And all of the creators did such a fantastic job of highlighting what their different cards were about and their different heroes. So today, we're just going to recap everything we saw. Let's just do a nice little wrap up of day one of reveals. First, I just want to make a quick note that literally all of the cards and the heroes that I'm going to be referencing in the videos today are from the creators' reveals. And if you haven't checked them out, I'm going to leave a link in the description so you're able to go watch those videos themselves. They're all fantastic. The first thing we're going to talk about is RDU's video. RDU basically kicked off this entire reveal season for Battlegrounds patch 22.2 and gave us an intro into the buddies. We get the buddy meter. Every single hero has a buddy, and this buddy helps out your hero a little bit, makes your hero power a little bit better. On the buddy meter, there is a halfway mark, and when you achieve that halfway mark, you get your first buddy. Now, when you finish the buddy meter, you get 2 more copies. This allows you to triple the buddy if you so choose, or maybe throughout the game you decided I'm going to get rid of my first buddy, and then you just have 2 more in your hand later for money or for whatever you want to do with them. All of the creators today kind of touched upon how the buddy meter was going to work, but Sun made a really awesome little graphic, which I'm going to throw up on the screen here. Basically, the buddy meter fills up as you deal damage to enemies, you pop enemy divine shields, just entering combat, which is passive, and then winning or tying a combat. So as you get those things done, the buddy meter fills up. There's also 3 tavern tiers that these buddies live on, tavern tiers 2, 3, and 4. You're going to receive them differently based on the tavern tier that they live on. Tavern tier 2 buddies, you can expect probably around turn 5, which is 7 gold, 3, probably around turn 6, which is 8 gold, and 4, probably around turn 7, which is 9 gold. It's important to note this because of the actual action that this buddy can take. Some are more helpful mid-game, some are more helpful late-game. Obviously, they would all be great starting, but I think that would make it a little bit too strong. In addition to the first person to kick off the Battlegrounds buddies extravaganza, we also met Brukhan through RDU. Brukhan, I was actually so excited about this because it really reminded me, like, Dungar is phenomenal. I love Dungar. And, like, I love the ability to pick things and kind of tech. And this took Dungar and said, hey, I'm going to raise you, like, a whole different level with Brukhan. So you can call upon the elements with your hero power, which costs 0. Amazing, first of all. That's so good that it costs 0, right? And then all of the elements, right? We have the Earth Invocation, which start of combat gives 4 random friendly minions. Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 elemental. Get some board tempo, not a bad thing. And then Fire Invocation, double your leftmost minion's attack. Kind of almost Professor Putricide-y. Water Invocation is give your rightmost minion +3 health and taunt, which is pretty interesting. It's a good tech in case you don't have a taunt on your board, which I'm going to raise my hand here and be like, hello, I very often don't have a taunt on my board. It's not that I don't want to have a taunt on my board. It's just, you know, things happen sometimes. And anyways, okay, the next one is Lightning Invocation, which is deal 1 damage to 5 random enemy minions. And RDU does reference Nefarian in the video, which is so true. Very, very good for removing shields if you're facing like a gem splitter comp, George, like just so good against that specific build. Mechs, also those. But I really love that you're able to kind of do what you need to do with Brukhan. Super helpful and really, really interesting. So Brukhan himself just seems like a house. Now we're getting to his buddy, which is the Spirit Raptor. The Spirit Raptor, as if all of the things that we just mentioned from Call Upon the Elements wasn't already amazing. Spirit Raptor remembers all of those things that you do when it's on the board. So you play it, and then every single turn you're calling upon the elements. Spirit Raptor has a death rattle. When Spirit Raptor dies, all of the elements you have already called upon go again, which is kind of amazing. I could see a little bit of downside to this, right? Like, say you did too much of the first one where you summon too many, you give all of your minions a death rattle of summon 1/1 elementals. Then your board is just filled with 1/1s and you're facing an Imp Mama and you're like, oh no, you're just going to summon things forever and I'm going to be really sad about it and then I'm going to take lethal and here we are. That could happen. Hopefully it doesn't. But I could see where it's a fine line you got to play with here. Spirit Raptor seems broken, but I think it could totally bite you back. No pun intended. Now, speaking of the pros and cons of Spirit Raptor, let's also talk about the golden version, which is call upon those elements twice. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. So by the time you get that, it's going to be very, very late game. I'm like almost stressed to see this in play. And by stressed, I mean incredibly excited, but also quite fearful. And I'm going to just leave it there. Brukhan, you're a house. Spirit Raptor, you terrify me. Our second set of reveals, and yes, set of reveals because 2 reveals happened at the same time for a very good reason. We had a Horde and an Alliance reveal. The Alliance reveal was Vanndar, and our Horde reveal was Drekkthar. So they are both joining the ranks in Battlegrounds. Vanndar is really focused on health, where Drekkthar is focused on attack. So let's talk about Vanndar first. Vanndar's hero power is a 0-cost hero power where you choose a friendly minion. It copies the health of your highest health minion for next combat only. Now this immediately takes me to Avenge Unit and Trickster. This is where we see a lot in play with health. The healthier your Avenge units are, the less likely they are to die before everything else on your board dies. Trickster, the more health it can give away, the better it is. That being said, it does copy the health of your highest health minion. So you do have to have a minion of higher health than the minion you are transferring the stats to, which is pretty interesting and makes for a very, like maybe one very large unit to be able to transfer those stats from. Vanndar's buddy, speaking of Avenge, is also an Avenge unit. Now, it's Avenge 2 and gives all of your minions +1 health permanently, with the golden version giving your minions +2 health. This feels pretty strong mid-game, and like milk comps, I could see this going well there. One thing that makes me think is like end game. How can Vanndar help us end game, right? Because hero power is next combat only, and assume that we already tripled the lieutenant, and at a certain point, Avenge units feel like not a late game option. So we're looking specifically at the hero power here for end game. I like the end game for specifically having to tech, right? So like you get something that you don't want to die immediately. Baron, you have a Baron and you weren't able to buff it. You had no gems. Green Thumb wasn't an option for you. You just purchased your Baron and your opponent is like, oh, I think I'm going to zap your Baron. However, your Baron is now a 140 instead of a 1/7. So sure, you can try to zap it, but it's still going to live. That's an application that I could see really helping endgame. Now, I feel like I haven't even begun to crack this yet, so if you have any ideas about Vanndar, drop them in the comments. Let's move on to Drekkthar. Drekkthar is the literal exact opposite to a T here. Drekkthar is all about attack. So the hero power is choose a minion and it copies the attack of the highest attack minion on your board. And the buddy of Drekkthar is the exact same, but reverse of Vanndar, where also Avenge, also tier 3, and it gives all of your minions +1 attack, with the golden version giving +2 attack. How can this come in handy, you ask? It feels like a Green Thumb, but like so much better. Let's consider a scenario I literally just talked about with Vanndar with a Baron on your board. Now with Green Thumb, you get your Baron early, you try to Green Thumb your Baron so that can't get zapped. Feels kind of bad because you have to have it in a very specific place. You have to hope it doesn't get sniped. Enough things have to die to really make it viable. You have your buddy. It doesn't feel as bad anymore because it doesn't need to be positioned so specifically. You can position it in a way that makes sense and also gives your entire board that +1 attack or +2 attack if you golden it. Again, I feel like I'm not cracking this one, so if you have any thoughts or comments about Drekkthar, drop them in the comments below. Moving on, we had a reveal from the fantastic Bofer, who also featured his buddy in the video, which was so sweet. Bofer revealed to us that Tavish Stormpike will also be a new hero for Battlegrounds. Remember how hyped I was about Brukhan? Same feelings with Tavish. I love this whole like versatility of hero power. I love it. Hero power is called Deadeye, and you take aim. So at this point you have 4 options. You can aim left, which is the leftmost minion, aim right, rightmost minion, low, lowest health minion, or you can aim high for the highest health minion. Now, there was a part I didn't talk about. It upgrades +1 every single turn. So, lots of useful things here. Like, you know for a fact that they have a taunt with a divine shield on the right side of their board. You aim right, remove that shield immediately, and then you're able to put whatever attack right into it. That being said, you're not guaranteed to go first. They may lead with a bumper, they may lead with a selfless, and it just gets its shield back. However, you do have that option to remove it. And I know I keep talking about Baron in these situations, and I don't know if I just got Baron on the brain, but I'm also thinking about Baron with the aim low. Your opponent has to tech in a Baron, you aim low. By that time, it's turn 12. Your hero power does 12 damage to the lowest health minion. Bye-bye, Baron. I think there's literally endless tech possibilities with this hero power, and the fact that it costs 0 makes my heart so happy. This is a great hero. Oh, I'm so excited to play some Tavish. And let's get into the buddy, Krabby, who's got a very lovely tuft of hair, I must say. Tier 3, so a little bit later. After your hero power fires, give your adjacent minion stats equal to the damage dealt. So, start of combat, hero power goes. And then Krabby does his little Krabby thing, and the adjacent minions get whatever stats are dealt from hero power. Instantly, my brain goes to Terragosa. Literally instantly. Krabby is technically better than Promo Drake in this situation. You're on turn 10. Krabby gives your Terek +10/+10. And Terek keeps that. Like, but also really great for avoiding cards from getting killed. This could be good when you're milking. Love those Avenge cards. You have Witch Wings in the back of your board. This is adjacent minions that don't necessarily need to have a specific minion type. It's like a Green Thumb, but in one large burst and only for one turn. So you're looking at putting Krabby between 2 Witch Wings that you have. You get those stats on those Witch Wings. They just don't die. Everything else dies, but they're alive. I feel like I would immediately greed to 6 here. And let's not even begin to discuss the golden version. The golden version gives twice the stats, which, like, Bofer mentioned like some cleaves and things like that, which maybe you're kind of weak and you have 3 gold left. There's a Hydra in the shop. You don't have any way to buff it. Guess what? Now you do, and it's Krabby. Krabby gives that Hydra just enough attack to get your Hydra on the board that one turn. Just to tech it in, do what it has to do, and you can move on the next turn. Dear Tavish, please show up in my first hero selection. Love, Sway. And now we are moving on to Sun's video. With Sun's videos, we did see a lot of heroes that we've already met before, but we're meeting their buddies for the first time. So we all know Mukla, who, you know, I'm not going to mince words. I don't love Mukla. But Mukla's buddy, I am crazy about. Mukla's buddy is Crazy Monkey. After you feed a minion a banana, give it +1/+1. Say you low roll hero power and you only get regular bananas instead of big bananas. So you only get +1/+1. Incorrect. Now you get an extra +1/+1 from Crazy Monkey. And when you golden Crazy Monkey, it's +2/+2. This is so useful because that banana, it was good. It was great. It was like gems, you know? Like, whenever gems were in the lobby, I was like, why would I play Mukla? But now, I'm like, okay, if I play Mukla, like, rest in peace, lobby, because all of my minions are just going to be the largest, most juiced minions you've ever seen in your life. Let's get it going. Let's get some nanners flying. Okay, this was my favorite thing that Sun revealed. It was Millhouse. I used to love Millhouse. We got along super well, and then all of a sudden we stopped getting along so well. So I haven't really been a huge fan of Millhouse. Like, let's consider realistically his roles, you know? Like, if there's elementals in, it doesn't feel as bad because you do have the refreshing anomaly for the first several turns, and then when you hit tier 4, you do have the recycling. There are options for reducing the cost of the role, but in general, if you start having to play any kind of specific comp because that's what you're being offered, playing Millhouse just feels really bad. You'll end up spending 10 gold to roll. Not anymore. So I did a little bit of research about this because I'm like a very large nerd, but Magnus Manastorm is actually Millhouse's dad from WoW storylines, which now we have like the entire Manastorm family between Millie, Millhouse, and Magnus. Magnus went crazy and he had to be locked in like a completely separate realm because he just like went insano in the braino and I love the card art on this because it pretty much depicts that. Like, look how cool he looks. But so Magnus is your buddy as millhouse. After you buy a minion, you add another one of the same tavern tier to the shop. This completely eliminates the issue of rolls. Like, you can just start finding things on that tavern tier, and like if you're gonna roll for 2, you might as well buy a minion of the tavern tier of the minion you're looking for 2, and then sell it back when it's not the right one. So you spend 1 gold as opposed to 2. Doesn't sound that efficient when I say it like that, but I feel like this is going to be so powerful. And the golden version adds 2 of the tavern tier to your shop. The only thing I'm concerned about is overcrowding the shop, but like I said, not a huge issue with millhouse because he's not that helpful sometimes. Sometimes he can be kind of a butthead. But now, thanks to Magnus, no longer. Millhouse, you might be bae again. I'm really excited to play this. Let me make a quick note here. Magnus is a tier 2. That's pretty quick. In millhouse, due to the way that you have to play leveling wise and buying minions wise, you do a lot of damage pretty early, so this should really help a lot. Moving on from the Mana Storm family, we do have Hooktusk at this point. Hooktusk's buddy is a Raging Contender. This is a tier 2, and Trash for Treasure offers 3 instead of 2, which I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me correctly, used to offer 3, but then it was too OP, so now it's 2 instead. The tripled Raging Contender offers you 4 options instead of 2. The only thing that like flags in my head, first of all, we're also seeing a tier 2, which in general you're looking at turn 5 or 7 gold. That's usually about the time that you're pretty much done trying to find triples if you warrior curve with Hooktusk. It's helpful when you're like, okay, I really need to find this one specific minion, so I'm going to buy this tier 4 because I specifically need a tier 3. So it's helpful in that way that you're seeing more of those tier 3s to potentially hit the one you want, but it's not overpowered. And I think that the wild, crazy, really helpful buddies, and then this one for Hooktusk, will literally balance them out. I feel like this is a really good thing. It's not too strong, but it's definitely strong enough to give you some good help. Moving right along, we have Patchwerk, who has a really, really adorable little buddy called Weebomination. He's really cute, even though he's holding a cleaver and has a rather menacing look on his face. I just want to give him a little hug. But Weebomination is a battle cry minion, so it's important to recognize that, I think, because you play him too early, and first of all, you're not getting full effective hero power because it is a battle cry, and the battle cry is to give a minion +1 health for each health your hero is missing. Do you want a Battle Master? No? Do you want a Weebomination? I really like that a lot. The only thing I don't like about it, like I said, if you play it too early, you're probably missing out a little bit for multiple reasons. First being that your hero is still going to be at quite a bit of health. And then second being that if you want the opportunity to triple him, you do have to leave him on your board at that point, which is a full board spot that can't be taken by other minions that are more helpful to you. Since he doesn't have a tribe, he's probably not going to be crazy helpful. Also to note, the golden version is +2 health. And this is a tier 3 minion, which we're looking at turn 6 approximately, 8 gold approximately. It's such a dance for Patchwerk, right? Because if you want to get full value from Weebomination, you have to kind of not win battles, which means your buddy meter takes longer. But then when you do reach it, you do get that buddy, and it can do a lot more for you than it could 3 turns ago. I'm really fascinated to see this in play. It feels like a sleeper. I have some feelings about it, and it feels like a sleeper to me. And last but not least from Sun was Tess. Tess's buddy, my brain just started going, right? When I heard about this buddy. It's a tier 4, which I think is the first tier 4 buddy we've seen so far. The Hunter of Old. Now the Hunter of Old, at the start of your turn, add your last opponent's buddy to your hand. The golden version is add 2 of your last opponent's buddy to your hand. First of all, the golden version, hello, like triples, end of game, just triple every time. You need the hand space for sure, but you spend 4 gold after you already receive your gifts from your Hunter of Old. Hold on, now that I said that out loud, it's assuming that your opponent didn't sell their buddy already, assuming that it's still on their board, which is not always going to be the case. So I retract that statement. But imagine you have Mukla mukla in your lobby. You get Crazy Monkey from Mukla. Hello, my name is now Mukla, or I'm Tess wearing like a Mukla cosplay. Because you put Crazy Monkey on your board, sure, you're not going to get 2 bananas a turn, but you do get 1. And Crazy Monkey does get that scaling. And there are specific instances where it won't work at all, like Hooktusk's buddy. Hooktusk's buddy is specifically to be used with hero power. Not going to happen here. Same thing with Tavish's buddy. Tavish is specific to doing damage with the hero power. When you don't have a hero power that does damage, can't do much there. There is so many really interesting mechanics at play with Tess, and I'm so excited to try her. All right, friends, this is the home stretch. This is the last reveal of the day. This was from Zorgo, and we saw several heroes we already met before. However, they have some pretty interesting buddies, so we're going to start with vol'jin. Vol'jin's buddy is Master Gadrin. He's a tier 3, and his text reads, at the end of your turn, adjacent minions copy this minion's attack. He's an interesting vol'jin target, right? Because you swap stats onto him, not only does he get those stats, but the adjacent minions also get his attack. Not whole stats, so it's not like vol'jin makes 3 really awesome things, but he does help out with kind of expanding the reach of vol'jin's hero power slightly. So copying Master Gadrin's attack. How could that be helpful? I think an interesting and important thing to note here also is the golden version does the exact same thing as the regular version. I think that there's certain comps which this minion will absolutely excel in. Let's look at a gem splitter comp, a ground shaker comp. In a ground shaker comp, vol'jin already does some pretty cool things with gems. You gem up the shaker and then you swap 2 minions after the gems have already been played. That swaps the entire attack stats from those 2 minions. Now take a look at Gadrin in this equation. So you gem everything up, and then you maybe use Gadrin on 2 newer units to the Shaker comp, or you want to kind of phase things out and phase newer things in. That is such a really nice transitional piece. Moving on, we have the fantastic Patches, who is a very large hit with several people, and I am not one of those people. However, the buddy may change my mind here. We have a tier 3 buddy called the Tuskar Raider with a battle cry. So this is another unit that we kind of talked about, like with the Weebomination, when to use it, right? So this battle cry is give a minion +1/+1 for each pirate you played this game. I think the word played is pretty important here because technically the hero power doesn't count as buying a pirate, but you will play it. So this is similar to South Sea Strongarm, but like so much better because it's throughout the entire game. Now, the tripled version is a +2/+2 for each pirate in the game. This feels so good if you miss on getting the important pirates. Like you miss on the Peggy, you get Eliza very late, you miss on your Salty Looter and you get it on turn 8 instead of, turn 5 or 6. Like there's so many different things that could happen that this minion will allow you, this buddy will allow you to catch up. Another important thing for me to note is that this is a pirate, so should you want to triple it, you can leave it in your pirate comp until you get those other buddies. And by that time, it still will have scaled, it will have helped out the comp as a whole because itself is a pirate rather than a non-tribed buddy. Moving on to Dancin Deryl. Dancin Deryl's buddy's name is Azure, the Haberdasher, who gets +1/+1 every time you sell a minion. He's not going to grow quite at the same rate, especially if you bought everything in the shop because you're trying to target 1 minion. It's not going to happen exactly that way because their stats won't be equivalent with +3/+3 versus +1/+1. But everything considered, like this is a really great unit to add to Deryl's entire repertoire here. He is a non-typed unit, so he does not receive buffs any other way than selling. Which, I mean, if you're selling to roll and you don't actually have a purpose for selling, then you are getting those incremental buffs as well. Pretty cool. Speaking of me being a greedy player, let's talk about Brann. Brann's buddy is called Brann's Epic Egg. It is a taunt. It is a 0/3, but it is a taunt with the death rattle of summon a random battlecry minion and add it to your hand as well. Now, we're thinking of this akin to like Witchwing. So Witchwing adds those battle cries to your hand. Now you have Epic Egg to do that as well, and another proc for Witchwing. I really like that a lot. And the golden version is summon 2 random battlecry minions. So you're not really worried about whether or not it's fitting into your tribe because you're just going to go up to 6 anyway, and then you're just going to get Amalgadons and you're going to win the game, just as Brann does. I really, really love this taunt. Imagine it with Tess. I'm excited to play this Brann. Last but not least, for the day is Maiev. So excited for this one. Maiev has a battle cry, buddy. Okay, it's called a Shadow Warden. The Shadow Warden's battle cry is your next hero power makes your target golden and wake up 1 turn faster. And the golden version of your Shadow Warden is make your target golden and awake 2 turns faster. This is such good tempo. You can totally use this to find a really nice triple. Maybe potentially you don't get a minion that you necessarily want to have a golden version of, but that's okay because you get a golden minion that gives you a triple, and at the end of the day you triple into a 5 or a 6, and that is so useful. Also, Maiev was like OP when hero power was 2 turns instead of 3, so I love that even though it's not for the whole game, you do get this opportunity 2 or 3 times depending on how you want to play out the hero power. It feels amazing. Like, I'm so stoked for Maiev. Okay, I'm looking back on all these heroes, and I was about to tell you which one I'm the most excited for, but that's honestly kind of challenging. I think it's a multiple way tie between Maiev, Tess, Millhouse, Tavish, and Brukhan. Okay, that was like half the heroes. That doesn't even count. What are you most excited to play? What do you have your eyes on that you cannot wait to sink your teeth into? I am so excited for this meta. I'm so excited to see what everyone does tomorrow. I will stream tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Time. Be sure to like and comment. Let me know your feelings about this meta that we're going to see here next Tuesday. I will upload a video tomorrow. Time may be TBD because I do stream at 5 p.m. But we will also be discussing a lot of what we have seen in the reveals tomorrow as well. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, everyone.